Imagine what it would be like to have no access to the gospel, no churches down the street, no Bible in your language.
We were there for 21 years, minus furloughs, of course, and we were in a tribe most of the time. The highlights were being able to get to know a people group and presenting the gospel and, seeing them come to know the Lord.
The village burned down right next to us. People dying in the village with no hope, the wailing, the crying. That was difficult to hear, especially before we gave the gospel, because we weren't not able to really communicate that well to them yet. In the last years we were in New Guinea after we left the tribe, we were transitioning out of the work there. We were helping other missionaries get orientated and move into other tribes. And so as a result of that, people out in the tribal areas, tribal people, were sending letters to me, and they would send these letters, and I have a bunch of them here. They would write things like this letter here, written by a man in the tribe called Sino, and he said, why are you fooling around and goofing off? We've been writing letters over and over again, and you still haven't sent us a missionary. We're waiting and watching, wondering when you're going to send somebody.
While I was at Bible school, I had the opportunity to translate letters from tribes that were begging for missionaries to come. One of the gentlemen said, me and my dad and my mom and my brother have been sending somebody to come and beg for missionaries to come, and nobody's come yet. Another letter, he said, I'm severely ill. I don't know how much longer I have left to live. Are you going to get here before I die or not? And in a follow-up letter, he said, in the end, when we stand before God, whose fault is it going to be, yours or mine, that you didn't come tell me? They see the difference that the gospel is making in neighboring tribes. And they say, we look at their eyes and we see light. We look in each other's eyes. All we see is darkness. We want that light. Send somebody to come and tell us.
These are kind of precious to me, these letters, because they just really tear at your heart, realizing that there's over 800 languages in Papua New Guinea, and many of those, probably at least half of them or more, have still yet to be reached. Many of these letters are still unanswered. Over the years, we began strategically placing missionaries not close to each other, but separated a little bit, so that when the gospel did reach out and reach that tribe, then they would in turn, as the church grew and matured, then they could take the gospel to their neighboring tribes. So we wouldn't put missionaries there. We would let the tribal Christians go across their border into the neighboring tribes and help them.
As far as my desire to be a part of missions, that came through studying God's Word and seeing from creation to Revelation, Genesis to Revelation, just seeing God's heart for the world to know Him, to restore that relationship that was broken by sin. And I figured if this is what God is about, I don't want to get to the end of my life and realize I've been pursuing something far less than God's best. It takes a whole team. I like to think of it in terms of an arrow. You have the arrowhead, you have the shaft, and you have the fletching. The arrowhead is the missionary that goes out into the remote locations to do the Bible teaching, the discipleship, the translation. The shaft is those support roles that helps enable the missionaries to stay out in the tribe. And then the fletching is like the supporting church and the sending church, as well as supporting churches and individuals that help keep the missionaries out there, both prayerfully, financially, by encouragement, and so many other ways.
The beauty of our support team is that they are so much a part of us.
Oh my goodness, they were incredible. Praying, giving, helping as they could. Some of them actually came to New Guinea to visit us there. But yeah, just encouraging us. Then we came home for home assignment. They'd want to hear about it and just try to bolster us up. And yeah, it was huge. Couldn't have done it without him. Still can't.
When you're over there, you're really missing family. That's what you miss the most, or you miss your church family. But when people make you feel so welcomed when you come back, you realize, okay, they are for you. They are, and that is so encouraging, because it's hard enough as it is in the work, but it would be much harder if we didn't realize that people are with us.
Maybe God is leading some of you guys to come and be a part of that. It doesn't have to be just one of those roles. It could be that as you go out, maybe you're part of helping to keep somebody else out there, both by encouragement, maybe by prayer, and maybe even supporting them financially. Like, you don't have to be stuck in just one part of the arrow. It can be any part and all parts. And just my challenge is to consider, where does God have us in that?